My name is Bart. I'm the creator of the Home Computer Museum in Helmond, which would be the most fun interactive computer museum of the entire Benelux. You can actually go and sit behind the computer and play and try to remember, try to get the feeling which you had back in the day when the computer came out. My love for computers started a long time ago. I think 4 years old when we first got the computer, which was a Tandy TRS-80 color computer too. My interest for computers was born at that time. A few years later we got a new computer, a 386. I used drive space and I found out that you could basically fill in any number you want to. Say the hard disk is that big, so I put a larger number in, resulting in that all my files were overwritten and the computer wouldn't boot anymore. So that was my first break of a computer. I couldn't fix it, but a co-worker of my dad could, so that's fine. And friends of mine thought, he's having these old computers, and they started to give me old computers. So by the time I was 16, I had 37 computers. I had everything, MSX, Amiga, and especially the Amiga I really loved. I moved and I had my own place, and the computers returned to the attic. I sold all my old computers. I didn't have any computers left until a few years ago, when my wife, she had a friend. So we went there to visit. The boyfriend of my wife's friend, he was collecting old game consoles. And I was like, wow, he had this amazing collection of game consoles I've never heard of. We drove home and I was like, I need an Amiga. I had the urge to have an Amiga. I asked a few friends and I put it on Twitter. And one of my friends responded and said, sure, I have an Amiga for you. Right now I have 180 machines. So yeah, things got a little out of hand in that case. That's the point where my wife asked me, was like, why don't you go to all these meetings, you attend all these meetings, gatherings, and you know so many people, and you also have a business mind. You also see how you can turn a project into something profitable, something what people can enjoy, what people love to go to, and I found out that a lot of people were having these old computers and don't go to meetings. So I started to ask these collectors, what if I have a building for you where I can put your computer in, but the only difference is that it's in a museum instead of your room. A lot of people agreed to it. The idea of the museum actually started earlier than my love for computers. My mother told me, and my sister as well, when you were really young, you had a museum with little cars, the little dinky toys and whatever. I had 400 of them. I had people coming in to my attic where all these cars were set up. I knew all the information. And I'm talking about, I was 4 years old, so I'm really young. And I asked the neighbors and friends of mine to come visit my museum. I sold tickets and then people could join my museums. It's amazing to see that this very young idea of having a museum is now actually coming true. So it's literally my dream come true now. It's amazing. 7, 8, 9 boxes. These are only games. Boxed original games. That's in here. Apple II original box. 386, XTs, 286. That's mostly what's in that stock in that corner. Bondwell 12, never tested. Working Model 4, Working Model 3. How difficult it was to get a building? That's an interesting question. It was quite difficult, actually. When I first had a plan, I went to the local council. The first interview I had with the city council was with 2 ladies. The first thing they said to me, we don't have anything with computers. I'm like, oh no. And then I have to sell them, basically, an idea of having a computer museum. And the first thing they said to me, we don't have anything with computers. So I started to talk and talk about my idea and the plans I had in mind. And after 1.5 hours, I showed them this room. I put a few computers around here, set up and playable as I would have in a museum. So they started to play with it, and I explained a little bit about computers. I think Commodore 64, and I think a Tandy color computer, I don't know exactly, and an old Tandy TRS-80. So we walked away. They were like 5 minutes in here, and we walked away. And from that moment on, they were like, okay, this is a building you could go into, this is a building you could go into, and maybe here or maybe there. And they had this crazy ideas of where they would put me. So in about, well, 1.5 hour time, I convinced them from we don't have anything with computers to, wow, we need this. This is amazing. They started actually to search for a building, but they found out that the council, the gemeente, doesn't have any buildings for me. Well, they do have buildings, but they have crazy prices for it. And we're talking about 6,000 euro, 7,000 euro a month to rent it. Several people coming to me and, okay, maybe this building or that building. No, it's not going to happen because price, because no, the building is demolished or going to be demolished. So I ended up with several ideas, but not a single building that came through. We started to speak about this empty building in the center of Helmond, where the council wanted to put a museum complex in. So several museums in one building. So I basically did pitch again, because I think this museum will actually be successful. So I started to talk, and they were like, wow, this is what we need. So this building is the building I'm going in. But the building is terrible state. 2 months ago, they finalized, okay, we're getting this building, and everybody's going in this building. Well, we said several museums are getting into this building, amongst them the Home Computer Museum, but the museum won't be open until 2019. I was like, no, this is taking too long. And so I called this broker and to see if he could help me with the problem that I could open in 2019, because that's way too long. He really loved the idea of this concept of a computer museum. So he started to call, and he found this building in the center of Helmond, where which is 621 square meters. So we're off to the museum. Well, to the building at least. It's not a museum, it's a building. And we did a reasonable price with rent. There's a grow-in rent construction. The biggest problem is the building is empty. I mean, literally, it's empty. There's nothing in. There's a toilet and there's a fuse box. That's it. There's nothing else in the building. So that's why I need the Kickstarter money for. I need the Kickstarter money simply because to lay down cables for electricity, to put on some lights because it's really dark in there, and to place walls. And we're here. So that's why the Kickstarter gets in, and that's why the Kickstarter money goes to. You have a few nice perks. Entrance, obviously. There's a nice poster I'll be making. So right now I don't need more computers. I need money just to set it up, to make it an actual museum. What I also need is people who want to volunteer in February, March, and afterwards as well, but especially in February, because that's the month I will build up the museum. So if somebody is watching this and say, yeah, I love this idea, and I have some free days, or I can help you out in the weekends or in the evening, sure, contact me, and we'll find a way where you'll be able to help. If you need more information, you can go to www.homecomputermuseum.nl, where you'll find links to the Kickstarter, to GoFundMe, and to all my social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Flickr, I'm on YouTube. The museum will open on March 17, 2018. That's the big openings day, and for normal visitors it will be the day after, but you'll be able to find it on HomeComputerMuseum.nl. This will be the entrance of the Home Computer Museum. From here all the way to there is the Home Computer Museum. You're now looking into the arcade part, what I envision as the arcade part, but there's plenty of work to do before this is actually turning into a museum. How do I see the museum in 5 years from now? That's an interesting question. My plan is to make the biggest museum of Europe. The entire Europe, yes. That's my goal. Of course, I'll start small with only the Netherlands and Belgium and Luxembourg and Germany and England and basically all countries surrounding the Netherlands. In about 5 years, I want to be the center of the computing history and where all the machines are and where all the machines and the knowledge is still available and people can just visit and have a great day with memories and see a vision of the future. And maybe in 5 years there's new old computers. All the computers which are now current are old by then, so they are in the museum at that point. Well, this is the building where the Home Computer Museum will be in 2019. So this is called the Oude Graveerderij. I have no clue what I'm doing. I just follow the feeling I have and I just go with the flow and I see where I'll end. I don't know. I'm dreaming a dream and this dream I'm following and I don't know where I'll end and we'll see. Ask me again next year.